Here we are today with Carla McGrath from the National Centre of Indigenous Excellence. She's just completed our Life app and it's got a snapshot of her health. I'm just going to ask Carla to introduce herself.
Hi, my name's Carla. I'm the Head of Sustainability here at the National Centre of Indigenous Excellence. I'm a proud Torres Strait Islander woman and I've just completed my Life app.
Was there any surprises in there for you?
A couple of surprises actually, I think. I would consider myself to have a relatively good knowledge or somewhat of a good knowledge around nutrition and around exercise, but it seems that those sorts of things I still have a bit of a way to go in terms of my own understanding of the impact that food has on me and the relationship between food and exercise.
So what relationship are you talking about? Are you talking serving sizes or variety of foods or?
Variety of foods, but I guess more so what type of foods to eat to best give your body what it needs to have in order to make the most out of the exercise that you are doing.
I saw some of your answers were low sleep and feeling stressed quite a bit. Do you think there's a correlation there for you?
Between low sleep and high stress? Definitely. I tend to spend a fair bit of time lying in bed thinking. I also often wake up early and wake up having dreamt about things that stress me out. So along with having quiet time, I've also got into chamomile tea and reading in bed instead of, say, watching television right up to going to bed, to try and just give myself a bit of brain space. And also watching television actually uses less brain power than going to sleep. So I think that I'm probably, although I'm engaged in watching TV, I'm not resting in the same way because my brain is probably still thinking about other things. Whereas if I find when I read, I'm engaged in that activity a bit more, and then I'm able to not think about things like work and the things that stress me out right before I go to sleep.
With social media and that sort of stuff, do you find yourself on that late at night?
One of the last things I do before I go to sleep, one of the first things I do when I wake up in the morning. So I'll jump online and check those, jump on Twitter and check what's happening on Twitter, share things that I think are really interesting, particularly first thing in the morning.
So how much hydration would you be having daily?
I think in the winter months I find that I drink a lot less water than I do in summer. I have a bottle that sits on my desk every day and we have a chilled filtered tap at work, so the access is there, but I don't find that during the day I get up enough and go and do that. And I also find I'm just generally dry a lot, so when I do exercise I don't think I drink enough water either. But really it's about, I get quite engrossed in what I'm doing and just forget to get up and go and get a drink.
Looking at your family history on your app, was there any big surprises there, or was there anything you weren't sure about?
I'm pretty well aware of my family history on both sides, so my Indigenous side and my non-Indigenous side. I think I've been conscious of it before, but going through and completing the app and seeing that all culminate in one place, there are a lot of risk factors there that I'd never considered en masse prior. Like I go and get skin checks, I have pap smears, I do all the things that I should in terms of the cancer risks. I go and have blood tests, so in terms of the diabetes, I do a lot of that stuff, but I've never really looked at how all of those things come together to make a full picture of the risks to my personal health. So that was a bit of a shock, to be honest.
So you're talking about having pap smears and that sort of preventative health. Have you had a preventative health check in general, like your blood pressure, cholesterol and that? Is that?
I have, yeah. So I try and do that. Because of the family history, I try and do those things on a regular basis. At least once a year. I actually have a pap smear once a year as well. Women in my age group, they say every 2 years. But because of the history within my own family, particularly the women in my family, I go once a year. So once a year I'll do everything all at once. And that's been good, I think, on an annual basis for keeping me aware of where I'm sitting in terms of that overall health picture.
Was there anything in your family history doing that app that you're thinking that you need to check within your preventative health checks? Is there any additional information you're looking at?
Probably really keeping an eye on the cholesterol and keeping an eye on the diabetes. So when those sorts of questions were coming up, I thought of my parents and the fact that both of them, although they are very fit, relatively healthy, thin people, in the last couple of years, both have been diagnosed as being pre-diabetic at different stages.
Okay. Exercise now.
me. Oh no.
So talking about physical activity, what would an average week look like for you for physical activity?
An average week, I live by the coast, so I like to do the coast walk. I probably do that once a week. I'm engaged with the Indigenous Mountain Biking Project and the community cycling projects we run here at the NCIE. So I try and get out on the bike twice a week, Tuesdays and Thursday mornings. I'm often late.
Yes.
But I do make it. And I did find recently when we had a lot of rain, I actually quite missed the cycling. So for me, I've never been big on exercise. I wasn't engaged in group sports when I was younger. But I think as I got older, it was really about finding those things that I was interested in doing, that I wanted to do, because otherwise my motivation was really low. I also found that making sure that I'd committed to doing it with other people was really key for me, because if I don't do that again, I don't think I have the motivation for myself to always get up and do those things. But if I've committed to being there for other people, then I will. That's why I think the cycling is so good. It's also really social. Riding really early in the morning is good because I can still get in and get to work at an early enough time that I feel like I'm getting a full day's worth of work in.
With a busy work-life balance and adding the physical activity in there, how are you going with all the balance?
I struggle to make sure that the work side of things, because I do a lot at work and other things outside of work, that cumulatively doesn't take over all of my time. So the balance stuff is really key, and I think finding ways to prepare meals, plan for meals and prepare meals, so I'm not just then going out and grabbing something really bad for me, or going out to eat, or has been good. And I've found, I think, that as I've started to get into exercise a little bit more, I'm more likely to eat better, because I don't want to undo any good work I might have done during the week by eating horrible food.
Okay, so preparation for food, how does that look for you? Is there one day that you prepare at the beginning of the week, a big shop, or is it a daily shop, or how does it look for you?
I'll do a big shop at the beginning of the week. Sunday nights in the supermarket sucks, so I usually go on Mondays. Big shop at the beginning of the week, and then if there are any little things that I need throughout the week, I'll just pick those up along the way. Not always great at it, and I've found that sometimes where I'll make a big lot of something at the beginning of the week with the best of intentions of having that for lunch every day or whatever, that sometimes work and work commitments that fall either throughout lunch or outside of hours means that I don't always do that, and that I end up eating not great stuff at events.
Do you have your favourite meals that sort of occur each week?
Baked salmon recipe that's a Jamie Oliver one, where you just, and I'm sure most people are meant to make their own pesto, I don't do it, but you just put the pesto on the salmon, wrap it in foil and put it in the oven, and while I'm doing that I'll do some kind of either a salad. So I've got one of my favourite salads is baby spinach, organic lentils, feta and lemon. It's pretty simple, but it's got some good stuff in it. The other thing I've realised lately, the joys of steaming things in the microwave, which I never really did before. So doing, some broccolini in the microwave and maybe doing a sweet potato mash to go along with the fish. Love that. That's one of my favourite things.
Okay. So looking at having your family between Queensland and Sydney, how's your support network look?
My support network is greater than just family, and I think that's really necessary because I don't have so many of them here. I have amazing friends, and being able to call on them to, I guess, in times of stress, or to help motivate me, come along with me when I'm trying to do good things in my life, is really key. And I've found, although I can sometimes overuse social media, I've found that being able to share the good things that you're doing and have people like it, have people comment on it, really helps to keep the motivation levels up. So I think finding a network outside of that, they don't have to be located here to be able to, be a support network either.
So I saw on your Life app that you had high levels of stress, let's say.
Yep.
What's the best coping strategies that you employ at the moment?
I'm not very good with the coping strategies. The best ones, I would say, are to schedule activities that are not work related around my working week. So making sure at the beginning of a week I'm putting in a couple of things after work that mean I actually have to leave work at a decent hour, and putting things in before work like cycling, which mean I'm not either there too early or I'm doing something really positive for myself and for my own health before I get to work.
So I did see that you had a high level of stress when you're doing work, and I did see, I'm going to make the link between a high number of alcoholic beverages a week that you're hitting up. Is that one of the coping strategies you've got in?
Definitely, and I do realise that that's quite a negative one. I think there are two factors that impact on that remaining quite high instead of, you know, me as a logical and relatively intelligent person knowing that I shouldn't be doing that. One of them is that that's a long-term coping strategy, not just for myself, but within my family as well. So that's a bit of a learned behaviour that's going to take a while to address for me. And also I think that generally it's part of our overall Australian culture that people go for a drink after work, and it's a de-stressor, it's somewhere that other business gets done. Even when I go to work events in the evening, there's always alcohol there, and it's just an expected thing that you'll have a drink while you're networking with other people.
You did speak about when you're feeling stressed that you change activities and book yourself out. Is it the activities themselves, or is it the change of environment that's the key to de-stressing there?
I think it's both. I think it's knowing that I have things to look forward to that aren't work related, and getting outside of my normal patterns. So trying to say yes to opportunities to do different things, which shifts, like you say, it shifts that environment that you're in, and therefore it can shift the mindset that you have. But certainly it's you know, just knowing that I've got other things that I'm committed to, and that those things are more about myself and keeping balance, helps me know that I'm doing something to take care of myself.
Right, that's all for today. Thank you for sharing your story with us, Carla.
Oh, it's been a pleasure. It's been really good to learn a little bit more about my own health.